All right, on line two, we have Anders Frejd. He is, of course, the editor of From Sweden with Love. We all know Anders. That site's been going now for what, about 20 years, Anders has been on.
Over 21 years now, actually.
Wow. You must have been one of the first people to start doing the online version of Bond. Who else was around at that time when you were doing things like that?
Martin Mulder was around with on the tracks of 007.
Right.
Kimberly Last had a website also, but I think it ceased to exist now. But she was one of the first also. The MI6 people were also up and running,
Right.
and the James Bond dossier.
Oh, really?
They,
David
they, they
Lee.
are
David
David
Lee.
Lee's, yeah.
Interesting.
I believe they were the ones around when I set up mine. And I mean some of the fan clubs, of course, had websites like the French club,
Yeah.
the German club, the Swiss club.
And did you ever
But
think
not so
about,
many as I mean today, of course, it's like inflation of websites,
oh yeah,
and social media
oh,
accounts,
all
etc.
these websites, these blogs, these podcasters, these YouTube.
It's too many to keep up with them all, I think.
Yeah. Did you ever think about turning it into like a physical magazine at some point or putting anything into print that way?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Did you think
Because
about,
my dog is making noises at the moment.
oh, Bondi is
Bondi.
Bondi is snoring. Is she?
Yeah.
Bondi.
Well, can you say it again?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, did you ever think about putting that into print? Anything like a magazine, a physical version of the website?
Not immediately to a book, I would say, but I mean, obviously, I've done a lot of research, a lot of work with it. I spent thousands of hours on it, so of
Yeah.
course, I have a lot of knowledge. But and I've always wanted to make a book because many people have asked me requested me to make a book, actually,
Yeah.
covering all the Swedish angles, for example, or something like that.
Well,
But to be honest, I haven't had the time yet to focus on that properly because obviously it's a hobby
mm,
and I have full time. I mean, I work as a financial consultant for big companies here in Sweden,
right.
so it takes a lot of time, of course. And I do have other hobbies, believe it or not,
Well,
because I'm a keen golfer.
I was hearing about the golfing. Yeah, maybe we'll get into that in a bit. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will also know you as being the manager of George Lazenby, and I believe also under your umbrella, Maud Adams and Christina Wayborn. I think are also on your
Yes,
portfolio
I
as
have a
well.
few clients that I work with or help professionally, so to speak.
Right.
But they all come basically from friendships with these people because I've been very fortunate to meet hundreds of people who has worked on the movies and also Ian Fleming's family members and
Right.
people from the literary world. And I haven't really I really had no plan to go for this originally. It just came to me. So, for example, with George, he just asked me out of the blue basically to start helping him
Right.
in 2012, 2013, because he was going to return to Shilton for the first time since the filming in 2013.
Right. Okay.
And the dog is fine, by the way.
Good.
It
We're all
just sounds
concerned.
weird. Bondi.
That's
So the Shilton team wanted to invite George to this event, and but they didn't know how to get hold of him. And so someone advised them to contact me, and I knew how to get hold of George. So I said I'd be happy to help you with an invitation for him if you want to invite him. And one thing led to another, and he accepted, and we went there together. And basically, when we ended that event in 2013 with like a private dinner with him and Terry Mountain and Silvana Enriquez and all the others I had invited there,
right.
he asked me out of the blue, why don't you help me with more things? And then, so it basically evolved from that moment.
And up to that point, had you just been attending events, and is that how you got to know George, just through fan clubs
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
meetups?
That's right. I met George the first time in 2000. Well, I saw him. Well, first I met him in 2003. Three, I would say personally. I had seen him in 2002 when he came to the royal premiere of Die Another Day. So I had seen him there, of course, but I met him personally for the first time in 2003. And then I met him at various events over the years. And then, well, leading up to this moment in 2013.
But he must have really taken a liking to you, Anders, because I mean, everyone's going to come up to him at events and tell him how much they loved him and in the film and want the photos and the autographs. Perhaps not so much back then because not everyone had like the smartphone, I guess, to hand. But
Yeah.
for him to clock you and remember you for each other meetings, so there was like a little chemistry going on between you guys, like straight away,
Yeah,
would
I
you
think
say?
I think we have very good chemistry. Of course, he has become a dear, dear friend of me also over the years. So I wouldn't say he's just a client. He's become a very dear friend of mine.
Mm.
And also, I don't know if you know, but George is a very spiritual person. So he has done a lot of spirituality in his life. He's been to India to meditate, for example, and met various gurus.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something none of us thought about originally, actually. But after hearing about he had a son, his first son died when he was only 19. And I didn't know this, of course, he didn't know it either, but it turned out that his son was actually born just 2 weeks before I was born,
Oh wow.
which we both found a very odd thing. I mean, odd thing in common, but
Yeah.
maybe it was meant for us to meet or something. I don't know, but
Right.
he has put a lot of trust in me, and I do. I've always been very honest with him, and I mean, I'm always honest with everybody
Mm.
I meet. But I think he saw that, and let him be part of his life. And
Yeah.
every time I go to LA, I usually stay at his place, and so I spent a lot of time in his home and met his all his family. I met everyone basically, apart from his oldest daughter in New York,
Right. Okay. And
and I speak to him, regularly.
and so he's retired from acting now, but you're still the manager. Does he do interviews, requests? Like what do you get asked for mostly by either brands, newspapers,
Yeah, it's a
film?
good question. I mean, officially he retired last year because we decided mutual that it was time, basically, because obviously he's not a youngster anymore. He's 86 now.
Mm.
So officially he retired, but not everybody saw the news. I mean, actually the news broke all over the world, I would say. So it was quite a big announcement. But I still get requests for him, on a weekly basis,
Right.
basically.
And
But
how serious are these requests? And I'll just perhaps it's a loaded question because when I interviewed Chad McQueen way back in the day, he would
mm,
say that he got requests. Some are completely legitimate and would go on places like Persol sunglasses, and then you'd get a request for a brand like rat poison, and they wanted Steve McQueen to be on the
yeah,
face of this rat poison, and then you go, well, the second question is how much integrity will it bring to the brand of Steve McQueen and the estate,
yeah.
and B, how much money's involved. So I guess my question is like, how serious are the requests that come in?
Well, it's a valid question, of course, and I could tell you a lot of things, of course. Maybe one day I'll do a book about my experience as his right-hand man. We'll see. But I've received anything you can imagine one thing I can mention in particular is this was a few years ago, and there's a TV program in Australia. I forgot the name of it, but it's like a doctor was Dr. Phil, and Dr. Phil in America,
Oh
but
yeah,
the Australian version.
okay.
And they asked me if George would be interested to come to a live show recording and have like Botox injections on live TV.
Right. Okay.
and
That's
and they offered quite a lot of money, actually, to be honest. But of course, George said no. I don't want to do this because he has never done Botox in his life, and he doesn't believe in that. So he wants to stay as natural he can. So
yeah.
we politely declined the offer.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those most insulting ones. It's like, hey, you look like you need Botox. Here's an offer for the Botox campaign. It's
Well, actually, kind of insulting, yes, because I think he looks very good. He still looks good for an 86-year-old. But so in a way, it's insulting. But of course,
yeah,
if you look at celebrities nowadays, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful people out there, but they still have done
yeah,
Botox for good or for bad. But
that's interesting.
no, I mean, usually the requests are very serious. But I have like a document, like a standard document I send out to any requests that I get.
Right.
So basically, if they can't fill out that document, it's nothing weird. It's just basic things that needs to be in place
Okay.
for me to bring the request to George's attention. Because
And that,
obviously,
yeah,
if I was going to bring every request I get to him, he's not going to be able to do anything else in his life. So
And what kind of
his
things are those is on the template there? Like what kind of things do you have to
once again, please.
what kind of things are on the template there? Like what are the just
Well,
just one
it's
of the
basically,
criterias?
well, one of the essential things, of course, is budget. You know, how much money are you willing to spend?
Hmm.
Because obviously George needs to have to go anywhere. He needs to have he needs to have flights and hotel accommodation and personal pickup. That's standard things, you know, from anybody in his on his level.
Sure, yeah.
So I mean, if they can't, if they don't have, if they say we don't have any budget, then of course
Right, yeah.
we have to decline because obviously he's got other things to focus on in his life.
Yeah,
But
that makes
sometimes, I mean, sometimes he's done things for free also because he likes the project or he likes the people behind it or
right.
things like that. And I mean, it's one thing I don't say it to everyone, but you know, George is a professional person and also a private man. So there's quite a difference. People who usually see him at public events, they see one version of George, but me, for having seen him at home, you know, in his private space, he's a very different person. He's a very sensitive guy and very nice person to be around, and very generous. I mean, every time we've been out walking, for example, in London, when you see homeless people, he gives them money. And I keep telling him, you know, you don't have to give them money. No, but he says, that's a tough situation. I want to help. So he just, you know, hand them little cash or whatever.
Right.
So he's a good-spirited person in that sense, which not everyone has seen.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, I just wrote it down because I didn't want to forget that the name for your book, Anders, is This Did Happen to the Other Fella.
That's a good title.
Yeah, working
I'll make a
title, you
note of
know.
it.
Just, put it like, don't ink it in, maybe like a light HB pencil. You can put that at the top, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
But
as you can imagine, a lot of these requests that come in, they have some sort of connection to Bond. It could be like a Bond inspired character in a movie or series.
right,
So of course, and I'm sure that Roger Moore, Sean Connery, and Pierce, Timothy, and Daniel also have had the same experience that they get a lot of
right,
offers similar to Bond.
yeah. I was going to ask, Anders, actually, now that well, Majesties has had a huge renaissance since I would say No Time to Die. I mean, even before that, I think it's become a cult classic. But No Time to Die, especially because of all the themes and the riffs that were lifted from Majesties. Have you seen a big rebirth of that? And do you feel like George has in some way been, I don't know if vindicated is the right word, but has a deeper appreciation for what he put into that movie now?
Yeah, I think George really appreciate the feedback and the love that he's getting from all over the world, basically. On the other side, he's very down to earth in that regard because he doesn't sometimes understand, you know, why do they still like me after 55 years, you know?
Right.
And there's one moment in particular that I can give you as an example. For example, in 2019, when we were in Portugal doing this tour with Martin Mulder, we were going to the beach location, you know, where he has a fight with Terry Mountain in the movie.
Yeah.
And we were in like a small pickup van with Martin driving. So it was George and I, Martin and Terry Mountain. And George just suddenly turns around to me and says, Anders, where are we going? And I said, we're going to the beach, you know, where you had a fight with Terry in the movie. And he says, okay. And why are we going there? And he says, well, there's about 40, 50 people waiting there for you to show up and have some pictures taken with you. Okay, he says, but why do they come for me? And he says, no, because they want you, of course, they want you to be there. It's no fun if
Oh,
just I turn up. So
yeah.
I don't know if he was pulling my leg, but you know, that says a lot about him. You know, sometimes he doesn't get
Yeah.
why people you know, appreciate Bond, or you know,
That's
because for him
interesting.
Bond was just a character. Obviously, that's the most. I mean, that's the character he's most famous for. But
Yeah.
He's very funny sometimes.
So yeah, it can be funny. It would be yeah. Although it would be funny to see you and Terence Mountain have a fight in the sea as well. You know, you could put you could put on the pleated shirt and Terence can get back into his like
Yeah, yeah,
knitwear.
yeah, yeah. I'll ask Terry see if I'm sure he's up for it. He
Well,
just turned 89, but
I know.
why
Yeah,
not?
I saw on your Facebook post. I thought, oh, that's really sweet. Everyone's out still having the drinks. That was really
Yeah,
nice.
he's in Stockholm at the moment because
That's
he's got a Swedish lady friend here.
oh, that's great. Oh, that sounds nice. I mean, so oh, yeah, it sounds like George has got a self-deprecating sense of humor, but also perhaps doesn't live inside the Bond bubble that maybe Bond fans do. You know, where everything
Mm.
is kind of like if I go to a location or a holiday, you know, the first thing that I do is go online and check out any film locations, Bond locations, Ian Fleming locations now.
Yeah.
And I go, well, what's nearby? What can I see? And that's what I call like living in the Bond bubble because I do that before I look at exhibitions or hotels or whatnot. So it does probably seem strange to George, even though he's obviously in the Bond universe. He's not in the Bond bubble like the super fans.
No, I wouldn't say he likes too much attention. He
Mm,
prefers to be private, because of all the places I've been to with him around the world, London, of course, is where he gets most recognizable.
right.
So there people come up to him on the street. But for example, in LA, where he lives, if him and I go and play around golf, for example, they don't know who he is. Which I
Interesting.
which I find very amusing because you sign into the club when you pay the green fee,
Yeah.
and then you have to give them your names. And I give them my name and I give them George's name, and they don't even react.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
and I don't say anything, of course, but of course, if I had mentioned James Bond, of course they would all know what James Bond is.
Right.
But I think George likes that because he likes to go undercover also.
Yeah, a little bit of anonymity, I
Of
guess.
course, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, in the neighborhood where he lives, everyone knows him, but that's a different matter. But
And what neighborhood is he in LA? How did he survive the fires? Like the house, I mean. Of course he survived, but it's like did
yeah, that's a good question, actually. He was actually in the middle of the fires, actually. So he had to evacuate from the place he was at
was he in the
because he was living
Palisades
in
or
Pacific Palisades at the time, where exactly, where the fires
right?
were. And I was there, I was there 2 months before the fires. I was there with him
Uh-huh.
at that place, and because I brought him some stuff because I had been to Asia just before that when I came to see him, so I had actually brought him some memorabilia from some of his Hong Kong movies, which I
Right.
have received from a friend in Hong Kong. So I gave it to George, and he kept it there. And then, of course, these fires broke out, and everything was ruined completely.
Really?
The place he was, I mean, the place he was at, it was burnt down.
Oh no.
So he had to escape, or he was, or, well, not escape, but a friend of him, friend of his, took him to another place until the fires
Right. And
uh,
and
ended.
and what's the plan now? Is he in
Well,
temporary
he's now
accommodation or
he's
is
now
he
he's now
going
in
to
Santa
rebuild?
Monica, where he's lived a lot, for many years of his life. So
Right.
so he's fine now. He's safe now, and he's got friends around and family around. So he's in a good place right now.
Oh, that's good news. But I mean, like, what do you think he's going to do with his house in the Palisades? Do you think he'll rebuild or sell on, or any
Um,
plans there?
well, I know that George's ex-wife, Pam Shriver, the former tennis player,
Sure.
she's very much involved in the community to rebuild Pacific Palisades, and
Right.
lots and lots of people are helping there, to restore it. But I think it's going to take many years.
Right.
But I felt very sad myself because I was walking around those streets there with George, and I know the neighborhood, and when I saw the TV pictures, I recognized the places, and it's all gone basically.
Yeah. No, it's scary how much that all wiped out. But weirdly, some things survived where there's just no rhyme and reason to it. Like houses and mansions the other side of PCH just got burnt to a cinder, whereas you'd go two doors down and one survived for no apparent reason. Then two doors down, those get burnt to the ground. Uh, but yeah, just overall devastation. But it's just so sad that George had to go through that. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, I'm glad that he's doing okay now. Well, Anders, feel like I've pummeled you enough or pumped you for enough George information, but I
Yeah.
wanted to. I did have a couple of questions about you and your taste as well, outside of Majesties. Like your favorite film. I don't think we can include Majesties in this, or maybe you want to, but like your favorite Bond film, maybe your favorite
Yeah.
Bond book, and perhaps a location that you'd like to visit from the films that you haven't done already.
Yeah, I mean, for many years, I said Goldfinger is my favorite Bond movie.
Hmm.
But of course, after my relationship with George, and I mean, I always thought Majesty was a great movie, but nowadays I have to rank it number one.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think I'm in good company because Steven Soderbergh and Christopher Nolan, they both said that that's their favorite Bond movie, and I think also what's his name?
Tarantino.
Uh,
Oh no, he's the man from Hong Kong. I think Tarantino said is one of his favorite films. Is that right?
once again.
Um, did Tarantino cite The Man from Hong Kong as one of his favorite films?
Yes, exactly. Tarantino also have said good words about Majesty, but I think he said, like you say, the man from Hong Kong was one of the movies that inspired him as a kid or something.
Right, yeah. I heard David Walliams talk about that on stage for the BFI uh,
Okay,
anniversary.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
When he was interviewing George on stage, and I like George's reaction to it as well. He goes, "Oh, did he? Oh, good on you,
yeah,
Quentin." I've
yeah,
got it
yeah,
on
yeah.
film somewhere. I'll have to send it to you. It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
that was a good interview. Fun, one of the best interviews I think with George on stage.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. I think
I mean, David is a good guy and very knowledgeable. And
yeah, both like knowledgeable and funny. I think, and
yeah, yeah,
really keeps it
absolutely.
going. So Goldfinger, perhaps your number one outside of Majesty's.
Yeah, and Majesty, exactly. And I also think Casino Royale and Living Daylights are great movies.
Mm, yeah.
I mean, fantastic movies. I think my favorite Roger Moore movie is For Your Eyes Only.
Oh, really? Oh, so you're going for the harder edge Bonds. That's what
Yeah,
you
because
like.
it's a harder edge Bond, and I mean, I love Roger was a fantastic person. I mean, I love the man, but
Mm,
I think some of his Bond movies where you don't take them seriously. I mean, they're great entertainment, of course, but I
yeah.
think For Your Eyes Only is where he did his best portrayal of Bond.
Yeah. Yeah. No, good shout. Strong shout. And do you get into the books much? Do you read them on
Absolutely,
occasions?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I read the Flemings and most of the continuation novels. I really like Anthony Horowitz's works.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
Yeah.
his books are really some of the greatest, apart from Fleming's books. But
I'm with you on that. Yeah. I think they're very close to what Fleming would have wanted.
yeah, and I like to go back to Fleming also because those books were written before I was born.
Mm.
So it's a nice way of exploring the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I'm with you because I've just finished reading Talk of the Devil, which was like the collective writings that the Fleming publications put out recently. And it's even though like there are articles that were in the Sunday Times and perhaps reviews of restaurants, it's just nice to hear his voice again.
Yeah.
So I just or read his voice, however you want to say it. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Um,
Although I think Live and Let Die, for example, when I recently reread that book,
mm,
I was I mean, quite shocked actually. 'Cause I didn't really think about it before that, but it's a lot of use of the N word.
yeah, well, there's a whole chapter, right? That's dedicated to it.
Well, exactly, and
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
as you know, there were these discussions not too long ago. When Fleming Publications were going to republish the books and if they were not going to do any changes to the languages, but.
right. Yeah. Where do you
Uh,
sit? Where
but
do you fall down on that? Do you feel like it's something that should be preserved
No, I
entire,
mean, in,
or
in
it should
general,
be
I don't
changed?
think you should change literature because they were written in a different time and a different world, etc.
Yeah, I'm with you
And
on that.
I mean, that's also a way of learning
Yeah,
history because if you adapt historical books to present time, you change,
yeah,
the narrative of history. I mean, so
yeah, I'm with you. No, I agree. Well,
so, and I think education is very important, of course, especially these days.
we've only got a couple of minutes left on the call, Anders, and I just wrote down a couple of things that I wanted you to either touch on or just pass up completely. I've just
Yeah,
underlined it as Mythbusters. So
yeah,
I've got these things from IMDb, and I just wondered if you could either say yay or nay to these.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I've heard this before, but George once got mistaken for a maitre d' in a restaurant and then went home and burnt his clothes because he had the suits from the film. Can you attest to that? Have you heard that one?
Well, yes, he had some costumes from the movie at home
Hmm.
at one point, and this was in the 70s. And his wife at the time, when he was out, the house, the wife, his ex-wife, was cleaning the place basically, and basically gave the clothes away to
Like the Red
Salvation Army.
Cross or yeah, Salvation
So
Army.
Salvation Army, yeah.
Right.
So imagine that person who finds them.
They've got to be somewhere. Please, someone check your attics. Go up in the loft, check your attics. Um,
Yeah,
Telly Savalas won a load of money off George at poker during some of the
that's
filming,
right. That's
and
correct.
Harry Saltzman went back in and won it back for George.
Yes, yes,
Really? Oh, I love that.
yeah.
That's great. That's really sweet. And apparently he told him
Maybe,
don't do that to George again. Anyway, um, that's really sweet. All right, I've got one more here. During the Pitt's Gloria scene, a crew member warmed a sausage under George's kilt for when Angela Scowler, who played Ruby, went and wrote the number on his fire. Is apparently she didn't flinch, but is that true?
that is true also, yes.
I like it. Well, listen, we should give
She
IMD a
stayed she
bit.
stayed in character.
That's great. We should give IMD a bit more credit these days. These are all true. Fantastic. Well,
Yeah, yeah, I mean it's an open source kind of thing, so anyone can go in and edit stuff, I think.
listen, Anders, when you get around to writing your book, I think that will be number one on many people's lists. But until then, Anders Freyd, everybody, and I'll leave a link in the show notes for the website. James Bond. Oh, I had it written down here.
Yeah,
Sorry,
James Bond 007.se.
Great, that's it. Yep. About 9,000 pages of content for you guys to catch up on over there, but we'll leave a link in the show notes. Great talking to you, Anders. Come back soon.
Thanks, Pete.
Cheers, buddy.